Let's get right into it, man. We have a couple of games on Friday night. We are going to hit on the Louisville at UCF game, and not just because I'm a Syracuse alum and enjoyed watching Syracuse just beat down Louisville. I actually live in Louisville. The sky is falling here. They already want Satterfield gone on the talk radio stations. It has not been a friendly week on the airwaves in Louisville sports around town here, and now they have to go to UCF. It is a 7:30 p.m. kickoff on ESPN2. This spread is sitting at 6.5 in favor of UCF. I think it was 6.5. A couple spots has come down to 6. Over under of 61.5. This is your big test for this week, man. Are we overreacting to Louisville playing that poorly in Syracuse, or do we think this team is just, maybe as bad as they were last year when they only really beat bad teams?
Yeah, I mean, the sky's falling for Scott Satterfield, and probably rightfully so. I mean, we knew coming into this year that if Louisville didn't take a big step forward or at least win 7 games, 6 games maybe, that he's probably out of here. And walking into Syracuse, and now Syracuse has a very good defense. Their defensive coordinator is really good. He comes over from San Diego State, I believe. But they couldn't do anything. Malik Cunningham threw 2 picks, no interceptions. He was largely ineffective. I just watched it. It's hard to take any specific numbers away from that Louisville-Syracuse game because Syracuse just shut them down. Louisville couldn't do a thing. So I don't know if overreacting is the right word. Potentially the preseason ratings for Louisville were an overreaction or an overestimation of what they can do because they looked bad. Now, UCF does not have the same defense as Syracuse. And Syracuse, a lot of their success came from scheme. Right, came from the type of defense that they run. It's like it's a 3-3-5, but not quite the same as your typical 3-3-5. But last week, so UCF played an FCS team. It's hard to take a lot away from that, especially if you roll like you're supposed to. 7 different guys caught a pass for UCF last week, and they didn't throw the football in garbage time. John Reese Plumlee was the only one that threw the ball all game. I think the backup attempted 1 pass, didn't complete it. So 7 guys caught a pass for UCF. Being able to spread the ball out like that against Louisville is going to be, I think, a really big advantage. Now, you said they're a 6-point favorite. They were 6.5 points like 45 seconds before we started hitting record, and I refreshed the page, and it came down to 6. Mm-hmm. So someone's maybe thinking that we are overreacting a little bit on Louisville. UCF's a good football team. Bill Conley has them 27th in the SP Plus this week in the nation. John Reese Plumlee, I think he's really good. He comes over from Ole Miss, 2-sport athlete, very good athlete, can run the ball like crazy, but he also attempted 36 passes last week. So they're willing to throw with him. I don't know. I need to see more out of Louisville. I'm tempted to bite because it's under a touchdown, especially with UCF at home. The Bounce House is a very difficult place to play. UCF is not a stranger to hosting Power 5 schools in Orlando. It has an over-under of 61.5, which is interesting just because those late night Friday games tend to just kind of go on forever and teams just never stop scoring points. So I'm watching the 61.5, maybe betting the over, and seriously considering betting 6 points on UCF.
Yeah, I would lean the over here as well. These two teams played last year with a total of 67.5. Final score is 42-35. And one of the wildest endings to a college football game we saw last season. If you recall, UCF was driving to potentially kick a game-winning field goal at the very least. Score tied 35-35. And then in the final seconds, Louisville gets an interception and returns it for a touchdown, wins the game 42-35. So, that was a game where Louisville went from bottomed out win percentage to at the last second winning that game as a 7-point home underdog in that game. Now we're at UCF a year later, and we're getting a smaller spread than what we saw a year ago in basically what was, turned out to be kind of a coin flip game until the final seconds there where really anything could happen. So, the spread is less than what we saw last year, but Louisville played UCF pretty tough. These are two teams that know each other pretty well. So I don't have a strong opinion on the spread. I don't want to overreact to Louisville playing that poorly against Syracuse last week. It's never good when you are giving up more than 5 yards of carry on the ground defensively and more than 9 yards per attempt. That's awful, but they also turn the ball over 3 times on offense. So I think there could be some positive regression here for the offense against UCF. So I would, if I'm going to play this, I'm probably going to play the over, considering how many points we saw in these two teams playing last year, and maybe take the discount there after how bad we saw Louisville play last week offensively. Hopefully they straighten out their turnover issues from week 1.
Surely. And I worry about, last year, I believe that was a game Dylan Gabriel got hurt. I think he played in that game and he broke his collarbone in that Louisville game early on. Well, Dylan Gabriel's a small quarterback who airs the ball out. John Reeve Plumlee is a big dude who is physical. He's a physical runner, and we saw Louisville struggle with that, particularly on defense, handling physical runners. So it'll be interesting. I may even consider looking to see if John Reese Plumlee has a rushing prop this week. It's hit or miss, again, depending on what state you're in, depending on what game it is. I'm going to be looking for that, even if it's on, a pick'em platform, just to see what I can get with John Reese Plumlee's rushing total.